We got a lot to talk about, so much to pedal through. Unapologetically progressive. Tune to KBLA 1580 to get the mess. We're your ancestors' favorite radio station. First black on talk radio, left side of the nation. Me and Dominique the Prima go way back. Tag Smiley making sure the station stays black. Discussing all the issues in our community. We're hosted black and brown and others find unity. So let's talk about it. Maybe we can improve it. Digital underground, always down with the movement. So we tune in. The first things first with the queen of Black Talk Radio, Dominique the Prima. Go sis.
KBLA Talk 1580. Good morning and God bless. Happy Friday. I'm Dominique DePrima. This show is called First Things First. And my first thing every single day, giving thanks, giving praises, asking for blessings from God Almighty, from the ancestors, from the elders, and let's get it going. I think you know the drill. If you do not, welcome in. Hour one, we do local. Hour two, national, international, and beyond, plus the freestyle phones where you just call in and talk about whatever. And then in the third hour, deep dive with a person of persons of interest backed by popular demand. Today, Dr. Gerald Horn, one of our premier scholars, to break down some of the madness and interesting developments going on the national and international stage. And to today's partner in politics. Well, it's been a minute since he has been on the show, but he's been around the show a lot. Let me put it that way. He's a longtime community activist. Actually has worked with a number of different organizations, including the Community Coalition and the Los Angeles City Council Redistricting Commission, and on and on and on. Now he's over here working with us at KBLA. Rob Battles, good morning.
Good morning, Dominique. How you doing?
I'm blessed. How are you?
I can't complain. Ain't nobody paying me to.
So happy Friday. There's a lot going on around L.A. and the Southland that we definitely can unpack. But we have a spot that runs on KBLA. It's like a promo, I guess, that talks about Community Coalition. And a lot of people heard the name in the infamous tapes. Kevin De Leon, disgraced former council, well, he's still a council member, disgraced council member, Kevin De Leon tape. They also heard it come up during the mayor's race when Mayor Karen Bass was running. But I don't know if people really know what it is. You were part of it.
Yeah, and I guess it's apropos. Your last guest was the mayor yesterday, Mayor Bass, and now I'm on, and I actually worked for Mayor Bass at the time that she was still executive director at Community Coalition. Community Coalition is a long-standing institution in South L.A. It's used to be, if you remember, the OG Community Coalition used to be on Broadway. Now they moved it on 81st.
Oh, that was before my time. When it was already on 81st in Vermont.
So the ad that you're talking about is South Central Youth Empowered Through Action, or Say Yeah,
right,
which is one of their original programs. And then they big on youth development and in the foster care community as well. So that's kind of how things got started. And now they're doing stuff like Power Fest that's going to be coming up soon, and they have a real big input on the community. So when you're in the conversation, we're talking about redistricting. Yeah, they kind of came up a little bit because they were seen as this power play, or a part of this power play that's being made around South LA. And I think that to an extent, the organizing work that they've been doing for 30 years is the power play, that they've always kind of stood behind that record. And I think that that's something that can't really be, argued about.
Yeah, it's a good point. When perhaps during the mayor's race, people who didn't know about Community Coalition thought this was just more biographical material. Oh, she's a community organizer. But those who know. And what I've noticed is that people that didn't know are finding out now that was legit, is legit, and has had a huge impact on LA in general and South LA in particular. and that the talking point or biographical note that the mayor is a community organizer is not something made up for PR. It's actually the essence of who she is.
Oh no, right away that impression was left on me in a way that I totally misunderstood, I think, at the time. I think as a young activist coming into a space like that, I didn't know that that space existed. It was kind of like, what do you mean? There's a place you could be a community organizer, you can work with youth, you can talk to them about politics, like you can get them ready for college at the same time. Like this, how did this get here? And everybody kept saying Karen Bass. And I think at the time she had run for city council in the 8th and had an unsuccessful campaign, but her work in the community had never really stopped. So, having an opportunity to kind of still get to work with her while she was doing that before she became elected official was a real proud moment for me.
Interesting, too, for those who don't track it, one of her mentees, Marquise Harris Dawson, is also now on the city council as the representative for the 8th. So,
yeah, doing great work.
Full circle kind of moment here.
Marquise is my first boss at Community Coalition. Shout out to Marquise.
Marquise Harris Dawson, who took over as executive director of that organization when Karen Bass left to go into politics.
Sure did.
And I was on the board at that time.
A little bit of LA history there.
Yeah. I think it puts things in context, and I think it's one reason why people, that know, or some of the community activists that work with her perhaps feel more confidence in the organizing skills, and it's a less combative relationship, even though there's always going to be critiques, there's always going to be, things that have to be marched and protested about. But I think it's a less contentious relationship between this mayor and many of our community-based organizations.
Yeah, which is, it's a turnabout for so long you're constantly always, trying to work with the mayor, trying to get them to see your point of view and think that there's a sphere of influence that they're controlling, that you have to kind of bust through and get your foot in the door. But when you have someone like Mayor Bass in place, it feels like, okay, well, there's at least, it's a lot less hard to try to get your foot in the door. Let's just say that.
Yeah, if you missed yesterday's conversation, by the way, you can listen to it on our app. It's KBLA 1580 at any place you get apps, or you could listen on podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. Just type in KBLA, Karen Bass, or KBLA, Dominique DePrima, and you can hear them for free, any of our shows, but specifically the conversation on Thursday with the mayor was, I think it was an interesting one. We got into a little bit finer points about what's happening with the houselessness situation, and also public safety, which we haven't had as much time to talk about, and we'll continue these conversations. It's called Mornings with the Mayor. It's once a month on First Things First with me, Dominique DePrima. Yes, call me now, 800-920-1580, 800-920-1580. That's the number. Check us out on socials. You can follow us at KBLA 1580 on Twitter, on Instagram, Facebook. I'm DePrima Radio, DIPRIMA. And then radio. And Rob, social media?
Oh, yeah, Rob_Battles2 on Instagram, and Rob Battles2 at Rob Battles2 on Twitter. X.
See, I see you looking at the camera. That's because you've been dealing with the with the YouTube stream enough to know that it makes a difference when people.
Watching.
What's up? Makes a difference when folks look at the camera, and you can see us streaming at YouTube.com, KBLA 1580. I want to unpack some of these issues going on around L.A., and you're welcome to bring up a thing, 800-920-1580. I got a few things that I would like to get into myself, including what's happening with a little update on what's happening with the strikes. So that's next on KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DePrima when we come forward.
Anyone can choose to make a difference. You can help people succeed, rebuild after disasters, protect the environment, or feed the hungry. Not only will you make a difference for others, but for yourself. You can earn money for college, learn career skills, and make friendships that last a lifetime. Make a difference. Choose your future. Choose AmeriCorps.
She's so smooth, so I'm interrupting my own shower to remind you to treat your skin like the queen she is with Olay Hyaluronic Body Wash, packed with Olay's highest level of vitamin B3 complex. It's so moisturizing that it will give you visibly smoother, head-turning skin in just 14 days. People wondering, how'd she get so smooth? Olay Hyaluronic Body Wash. Also, try Olay Hyaluronic Body Lotion.
On your period, sudden gushes happen without warning. But now, you can say goodbye to stand-up gush fears. Thanks to Always Ultra Thins with rapid dry technology. It absorbs gushes 2 times faster than the leading store brand and gives you up to 100% leak-free protection. Hello, clean and comfortable with Always Fear No Gush.
Hi, it's Tavis Smiley. KBLA Talk 1580 is inviting you to join us on Saturday, September 16th, 10 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. for our very first economic empowerment event for the community. This event is free and is powered by Caltrans. We're doing this in association with Rambo House, and here's Rambo to tell you more.
Contracts. I'm going to say it again for all of us small business owners out there. Contracts. Rambo House, KBLA, Tavis, me. Oh my God, this is going to be massive. I truly thank Caltrans for giving us the opportunity to focus on contracts. Listen, that's what it's all about to be a small business in LA. That's how we hire our own. That's how we expand our community is contracts. KBLA1580.com is for you to have a seat at our contracts-focused event. Contract Ready does it again. We had over 900 last time. So you guys know how exciting this is. And if you just think that you want to get into contracts and you're close to it, bring your friends out for September 16th at the Marriott Hotel. Listen, you know where to register. KBLA1580.com. Come see me. I can't wait to see you. Let's do it, Tavis.
So be sure to go to KBLA1580.com for all the details. We'll see you Saturday, September 16th.
Your ancestors' favorite radio station, and your favorite morning show host. Let's get back to Dominique DePrima right now.
Right now, talking with Rob Battles. I want to talk about some of these stories in the news, but also I know you're involved as a community activist, an advocate, and a lot of great things going on. I guess the State of Black L.A. is about to hit us.
Yeah.
That's the L.A. Urban League's shindig. Why do you think that's important, Rob?
I think all the work that we got going on in the city that's focused on Black LA is important. It's a moment in time that I didn't think we'd be at, and I think that LA County is just as dedicated. So it's good to see that there's developing spaces like this for way more community members to be a part of. So the State of Black LA report, which I think is going to happen at USC next week, I think it's going to be televised. So if you don't get a chance to RSVP to go, it'll be on TV.
Yeah, oh, okay. Yeah, I never have watched the stream or seen it on TV, but I know they've got some dignitaries taking part this year, including actually the mayor.
Oh, okay. Now, personally, I wish it was more like a cookout style town hall, but that's my preference. If I was behind it, anybody wants to call me to plan the next one.
Yeah, I think that would be kind of fun. Maybe you'd get some folks that don't typically.
Those events can be a little stuffy sometimes, If you want to make it feel more community friendly and community welcome, we are talking about the State of Black LA. It's not just, the folks that are working in the city and the county and working on these important projects. It's all of us.
Right. And the State of Black LA is like they have a bunch of different panel discussions that you could check out. And I guess they also put out a report. Mm-hmm. What is that report meant to do?
I think the part of this report is, whenever you have an event like this, you want to make sure that people know where they stand in terms of where we're doing it, in terms of our community outcomes, where we're doing in terms of police, how impact the police are having on our community, where money is being spent, where dollars could be potentially being spent. So these reports are important to let people know that if you're going to start to do work on behalf of Black LA residents, these are some of the areas that are of greatest need, and these are the areas that have support and some traction.
Yeah, so that's next Wednesday, September 13th from 8 to 2. It is free. And as you said, it is taking place at USC. They do have breakfast. Mm-hmm. Okay, so it's not a cookout. They do have breakfast. Close. A little something. KTLA had an interesting article because so much conversation about how high the rent is, how unaffordable it is to live in LA. In fact, there's another article on the front page of the LA Times today talking about how, even areas that we used to think of as super cheap are now getting expensive. But this KTLA, and I have heard this from friends as well, article is saying that a lot of landlords are trying to get around the rent control, well, not rent control, but the pandemic limits on raising rents by creating all these fees. $5 for this, $30 for somebody to take your garbage from the garbage can to the dumpster, $5 for, some kind of administrative fee. I mean, it sounds like people are just making stuff up.
Yeah, that's shady. You're taking advantage of folks in a lot of these circumstances that are on fixed incomes.
Right.
These are folks that don't have a lot of leeway and leverage to just say, oh, I need an extra $75 every month to tack on these fees. And I think that's kind of where you're seeing that this is, the landlord pushback, and they can't do the old way where you just kind of sell the building, refurbish it, and raise the rents and start making people deals to get out.
I mean, they can do that.
Places.
They just have to pay relocation fees, and a lot of them probably don't want to do that.
Oh, and it's sweet when you get them to do that, though.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the relocation fees are fairly high, and I know some of these mom and pop landlords are struggling, but at the same time, those fees are only applicable if you're doing something like that, moving people out to renovate and raise the rents, or you're moving in, or you raise the rent 10% or more. But things like, you have to pay for pest control. Now you have to pay for to use a mailbox and stuff like that. I kind of think, and I'm not unsympathetic to landlords. I've had friends that accuse me of that. But I kind of think that there should be some kind of limitation on that, because it is a de facto rent increase.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to argue with that. As a renter, I wouldn't want somebody to just kind of unilaterally decide, like, you know what, I'm going to operate like an HOA, just kind of start making like little decisions around how we're going to do the rent increases because I can't do an actual rent increase. I'll just do this, kind of shell increase around it. And that's troubling.
I mean, and I just feel like there's an understanding, or there has been an understanding, that when you rent an apartment, you get a mailbox, and they're supposed to keep it pest-free. Right,
it's
and they're supposed to pick up the trash.
It's in the contracts, yeah.
So how are these things now suddenly costing people money? We've got Angela on the phone calling us from L.A. Good morning, Angela.
Good morning, Dominique. Long time no hear from. How you been?
I'm blessed. How are you?
I'm okay. I'm out here at LAX working.
Good morning, Angela.
How are you?
Oh, doing well.
You're working. We don't want to get you in trouble, but I know you must have called with something on your mind. What's on your mind this morning, Angela?
I just wanted to weigh in about a community coalition. That's the best organization that hit LA, for as I'm concerned. I love it. I'm a member of it. My granddaughter came out of there. Got other young grandkids going there. Her name was Kamari Brown. You were supposed to do an interview with her, but the pandemic hit, so she didn't get to do it with you. But she came out of community coalition. She got the Michael Jordan Scholarship.
We can still do it, Angela. I mean, if you want to stay on the line, we'll get your number. We can still do it.
It's a great idea.
I feel like we have to give our kids back as much of what they lost during the pandemic as possible. I feel like these colleges should be having high school graduations and proms. They should be having proms for all the, class of 2022, 2023. It's not fair. They didn't get to have prom. They didn't get to have
no homecoming kings and queens, none of that.
Their high school experience was basically robbed of them. All right, Angela. And I think Angela's one who knows about CoCo, as it's called.
Right. And I'm glad that she mentioned how there's kind of that intergenerational relationship between Community Coalition and its residents or members. Really, that's what it's all about. And folks really are dedicated. You sign on as a member, and then you get to be a part of all of the things that they got going on, from, the fundraisers at the gala dinner to the youth work where they're, doing the college tours, and then you're supporting the organizing work. I mean, they just open with the Center for, organizing. That's great. That's that Center for Community Organizing, like a whole center dedicated to that.
And they're going to be
like a living museum.
And they're going to be training people from across the country too, not just LA. So that's That's positive, and it's important for us to acknowledge that there is an art to organizing, and we can study it and be more effective.
And we can get better. And I think that that's key when you're really seeing that folks are innovating and not just kind of recycling, strategies over and over again, realizing that times change, people's attitudes and approaches to people change as well. And I think organizing has always been a space for you to be as innovative as possible.
Yes. And, the thing that I liked about Community Coalition, which is why I was on their board for so many years, is because they have members.
Mm-hmm.
There are so many organizations that are just an organization. It's a guy or a couple or a woman or whatever, and it's just them. And that's fine. I mean, it's fine for whatever you're doing. But to me, having an organization and having real clout and being truly representative of the community, you should have members.
Right. No. And, the founders, they did their homework. The folks that have kept the lights on over these years, they've really studied this game. They know what they're doing. So when you go in there, there's a sense of community that, is really a blueprint for other organizations to follow. Like you see members of the community on the wall, people who've worked there 10, 20 years ago can come there and still see themselves. And you see that there's a trajectory of leadership that's come through there. That's what I said as a young activist. I knew nothing about a place like that existing. And I was glad that my mentor, Manla Kaise, told me about a place like that. And he said he had worked with Karen and like, hey, you should go over there. And I was like, I'm glad I did.
Wow. Let's go to Jamal calling us from L.A. Hola, Jumbo. What's up, Jamal?
See Jumbo. Bye, Gandhi family.
Good morning.
It's been a while. I've been to Detroit and I stayed there for a whole month. The blight is still going on. It's really a lot that needs to be done. In regards to LA and the Community Coalition, I have a question of their FIBA Center. What is the plan for the FIBA Center? I remember when I was going there on a regular basis, we had a health conference every Saturday between Tabidi and
Dr. Rab. Dr. Nathan Rab, yeah.
Yeah, we had those on a regular basis, and people need to have that type of information. So what is the plan for the FIBA Center? Because it's a mystery to me. And
well,
really like
here's
to know
what I know.
Here's
what I know. I don't know everything, but here's what I know. Community Build, which is another community-based organization in Leimert Park, led by Robert Salcedo, is now in charge of programming a FIBA Center on behalf of the city. The city owns that because it's a former fire station. But what I'm told is that community members can now apply through Community Build for their events. So presumably, Tabidi and Dr. Rab could bring that health conference that they used to do once a month back, a community wellness sort of conference. They could bring it back. And I hope that they do. The center, I know, is going to be used for things like job training and training of firefighters, training of different various jobs that are being offered through the city. I know they're talking about using it for meetings for different community-based organizations, but it's meant to be free and usable by the public, and managed by Community Build. That's as much as I know.
Well, can I ask you one more thing, please?
Of course.
Hello?
Yeah.
Yes. It's an ongoing problem. It continue to be an ongoing problem. They're going to use that center. They should have a course that teaches Spanish as a second language. Everybody ain't going to community college, other places. Right there in the neighborhood, they need to do something about it because people out there are dealing with people that deal with other languages. And of course, a lot of people speak Spanish, and we need to know. We need to be available. We need to have that available to us.
That's a good idea.
Jamal's full of great ideas. It sounds like he can kind of step into
I've been talking about this for years, and it hasn't happened. Every community center, they have English as a second language. What about Spanish as a second language? Come on.
Tú sabes que sí, que yo sí pienso que esa es una buena idea porque yo aprendí español porque estoy nosy.
No comprende.
I said I learned Spanish because I'm nosy.
Taco Bell, Jamal. I'm with you right there.
I said I think it's a great idea because as a Black American, and I know y'all like to mix me up with other Latinos, but I am actually not Latina. I'm black and Italian. My mom is Italian.
Well, that's enough.
I
That's
learned
another thing.
Spanish
Latinos are what
because
they-
I
they
am
are.
nosy. That is why I learned it. I'm nosy. People would be talking about me, especially when I go to New York. They would think I was Puerto Rican or Dominican or something and start talking about me, talking to me. I said, oh, I need to be able to understand this. So it was really driven by me wanting to be in people's business. And I agree because like when you go to Africa, the kids there speak 3, 4, 5 languages. All just regular kids with no money, no, fancy education. They speak the colonizers' language, their own ethnic language, the unifying African language of whatever their area is, whether it be Swahili or whatever it might be. And then some of them speak several others. So we can do it, and that's our tradition. I don't know why. Well, I do know why we stopped, but we can get back to that.
Okay.
Have you tried Duolingo? You know what? I started Duolingo for French, and I think it's really good. I just haven't been doing my lessons. But I do want to learn. I'm trying to learn colonizers' languages because when you learn colonizers' languages, you can travel. When I went to Senegal, I said, "Oh, I wish I knew French."
So after South Africa, you wish you spoke Afrikaans or what?
No, because they also have English. They have that colonizers' language, and I have that one down pretty good.
There you go.
Rob Battles is with me. You're welcome to join us. 800-920-1580. It's news, traffic, and sports and more. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DePrima when we come forward.
Good morning, I'm Mike Moore. Here's the latest from the Black Information Network. A month after a fast wildfire destroyed the historic town of Lahaina on the Hawaiian island of Maui, nearly 400 people are still missing. Teams of rescuers, cadaver dogs, and anthropologists trained to detect fragments of human remains have searched nearly all of Lahaina. A man is seriously hurt after a shooting at FedEx Forum in Memphis, Tennessee. This happened during a concert headlined by African-American rapper Lil Baby last night. The rapper was rushed off stage as security got to the victim, who was taken to the hospital in critical condition. There were no other reported injuries. Officials say they don't know how that gun was able to get into the venue, which uses metal detectors at the entrance. No arrests have been announced. And that's the latest. I'm Mike Moore from your 24/7 news source, the Black Information Network, and BINnews.com.
Come to Dodger Stadium on September 19th when the boys in blue take on the Tigers for Dia de los Dodgers, presented by Hornitos. Purchase a special ticket pack to receive an exclusive jersey. For tickets and more information, visit Dodgers.com/ticketpack.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
Serena Williams was 17 when she won her first U.S. Open championship in 1999. CoCo Gauff is 19. She's one victory away from following in her idol's footsteps as a rising teenager. CoCo defeated Karolina Muchova of the Czech Republic in straight sets to advance to Saturday's title match. CoCo will play Aryna Sabalenka of Belarus. The Dodgers get a shutout win last night in Miami. Mookie Betts was on crutches after the game. He fouled a pitch off his left foot in the second inning. 6 weeks ago, Chargers quarterback Justin Herbert was the NFL's highest paid player with an average salary of $52.5 million. That title now belongs to Cincinnati Bengals quarterback Joe Burrow. Burrow signed a 5-year deal worth $275 million, an average of $55 million per year. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
Are you a small business owner? If so, you know that taxes can be a daunting task. But don't worry, you're not alone. At Wealth Management Financial Advisors, they specialize in helping small businesses with their taxes. They have the experience and expertise to help you file your taxes correctly and on time so you can focus on growing your business. They also offer a variety of tax planning services to help you save money on your taxes. Visit their website or call them today to learn more at wealthmanagementlb.com. or 562-427-8877, 562-427-8877, or wealthmanagementlb.com.
Extreme heat can make you very sick and can be deadly. For Californians 65 and over, it's important to have a plan. Ask your healthcare provider if your medications affect your ability to cool down. Know the signs of heat illness and stroke, as well as the location of your nearest cooling center or air-conditioned space. And if you have loved ones over 65, be sure to check in on them on hot days. Learn how to stay safer from extreme heat at heatreadyca.com. Brought to you by the State of California.
Dominique DePrima, KBLA Talk 1580. One of the most important details of running a business is managing cash flow. In fact, it's key to maintaining your company's health. Putting cash flow management before profits using dedicated software can help you drill down to the details that let you see the bigger picture. Having that clearer outlook makes for a stronger business. Whatever your business's financial goals, U.S. Bank Access Commitment Initiatives can help support you in reaching them. Access your financial goals at usbank.com/access. Member FDIC, equal housing lender.
I'm getting vaccinated with Prevnar 20.
So am I, because I'm at risk for pneumococcal pneumonia.
If you're 19 or older with chronic conditions like asthma, diabetes, COPD, or heart disease, or are 65 or older, you are at increased risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about Prevnar 20, pneumococcal 20-valent conjugate vaccine. It can help protect you against pneumococcal pneumonia in just one dose. Even if you've already been vaccinated with other pneumonia vaccines, Prevnar 20 may help provide added protection. Prevnar 20 is approved for adults to help prevent infections from 20 strains of the bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia. Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you've had a severe allergic reaction to the vaccine or its ingredients. Adults with weakened immune systems may have a lower response to the vaccine. Side effects include pain and swelling at the injection site, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138 or visit Prevnar20.com.
Thanks for waking up with Dominique DePrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
Thanks for waking up with me. Rob Battles is here. He is a community activist, organizer, and now he's a radio guy, too.
That's right.
So we're going to go right to the phones, Rob. Let's go to Howard calling us from Watts.
Hey, Howard.
¿Cómo estás?
Bien, ¿y tú?
¿Cómo estás? Bien. ¿Dormiste bien anoche?
Okay. Let's see.
Sí, bastante bien, pero no tanto.
Okay, I said, did you sleep well last night?
I said pretty well, but not too much.
And I got this look on my face like I didn't get a wink of sleep.
Yeah.
You hit that was the end of your Spanish hour.
Yeah, I was stressed important learning language. A lot of blacks don't understand it, but one of the first people Europeans that enslaved us were Spaniards, you know. So, I was blessed. I moved out here as a child, as 5 years old. The first thing I noticed about L.A. was there was a different language spoken. It just blew my mind as a kid, you know. And I was curious, and I got all the fears. I was scared that people were going to attack us, and I just settled down. I said, I wonder what they're talking about, you know. As a lady, a family like me and my mother, brothers and sisters, like a Latino family like us. A lady with 4 or 5 kids, they got on the bus, and I was sitting way in the back. And I just observed that, and it affected me. And one thing I can say, I was fortunate enough, my great-grandfather, I got to know, I'm the oldest, so I'm the one that got to know him quite well. He always encouraged me to learn Spanish, learn another language, because you speak another language, you always have a job. And he was right, you know. I think I might be able to get a lot of jobs now because I can't speak the language. But it's a beautiful feeling that I can walk in my Los Angeles and kind of pick up what's going on. Not everything, but a lot of things going on. And you can learn a lot of things from that. And I learned it's opened up the world for me. And I can say Latinos, they speak the same language, but they don't like each other. You know, it's a trip. It's a trip. Cubans and Puerto Ricans don't get along. Mexicans and Guatemalans don't get along, and El Salvadorians and all that. But they speak the same language, but they don't get along. And it's a good feeling to be able to walk around the city, and I can kind of pick up on the language. Now, the one thing I missed about my retirement, I worked at Martin Luther King Hospital for 30 years, and I just based my school on what I learned in school. That's how I learned. And that's what I miss about my job is speaking Spanish, believe it or not. It's really a trip. So I try to speak to my grandkids when I'm out in public. I'll say a few things, but you don't want to be showing off. So,
well, you know, what I find in L.A. is that there's always somebody that needs your help if you speak Spanish. There's usually some person who's struggling with their English, and and they'll look around desperately to see if anyone speaks Spanish. That's how I get my practice in, helping people out. But here's the thing, and this is going to sound mean, but it is what it is. I like busting people when they're talking smack. And, you know, they think you don't understand because you're black, and then you just say something, and they're like, oh, dang. And I also like helping people. So I guess it's two ends of the spectrum, because I always hope when people are talking smack like that, and you say something, they think twice before assuming that all black people don't understand Spanish.
No, that's interesting. What happens with me is folks will just come up to me and just start speaking Spanish out of nowhere. And half the time I know what they're saying, so it kind of helps to my advantage. But it kind of throws me off for a second. I'm like, what made you think I knew what you were gonna say? But like I said, I could be of some help. I'm gonna speak back to them.
Yeah, you probably those freckles. Probably those freckles, Rob. But
you know,
go ahead, Howard.
Same thing happened to me. I'm obviously black. My mother's from Birmingham, Alabama. So you know what that tell you. My father's from Dallas. So I look African American, but that doesn't have nothing to do with it. I know Cubans that are black as ace of spade and they speak Spanish. You know what you can do? You know it's an album, Mongo Santa Maria album, El Pussycat. It's a picture of Mongo on the thing. He looks definitely African. Matter of fact, I went to school with the guy that played trombone, was a hellified trombone player, looked just like Mongo Santa Maria. If him and Mongo in the same room, he said, y'all related, you know, so it just shows.
Well, it's because, because Africa's children were stolen and taken all over the world. That is the African diaspora. Africa's children are in Cuba. They are in Haiti, they are in Puerto Rico. We are everywhere. In Brazil.
I've been accused of being Cuban in Cuba, believe it or not, and got kicked out of a hotel because they like, hey, you're not supposed to be here, because that's some of the rules is that locals aren't able to go into some of the tourist locations. And you know, I mean, beyond that, I was detained at the airport for saying the wrong word in Spanish. Instead of saying I was going to be here for 2 weeks, I said dos meses and said I was going to be here 2 months. And I got detained for about 3 or 4 hours, and my delegation was trying to figure out where I was. And guess who had to come and get me out? Karen Bass.
I bet she was. Wow, that's wild. Well, go ahead. Go ahead, Howard.
Well, I was just going to say, learn, like I was encouraging the child, learn Spanish. I got little kids around there. I just, certain things I'll say to them, I like to say to my great-granddaughters, abrázame. That means hug me. You know, so, like that, te amo, you know, little stuff like that. I'm trying to get them to listen, and I'll just talk to them anyway. Like I said, that's what I miss my retirement, is speaking Spanish. And you know, it's really weird, Dominique. When I speak Spanish, it's out of a thing about love and helping people. I don't know too many curse words. You know,
well, I can help you out with that.
I was about to say, we all learned those right off the bat, Howard.
I can help you out with that.
You got shorted. You need to get your money back.
Spanish has some good curse words. Yes. Like, they're fun to say. I think English curse words are fun to say, too, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, when I was a kid, I was a foul mouth. So I'm wondering how my kids are going to turn out.
Foul mouth.
But, you know, one thing I can't say, I love the flirting Spanish. It's a very flirting language, you know. Hola, lindo, ¿cómo estás? You know,
he said, ¿Qué pasa, mujer? Okay.
He said, hello, beautiful.
Yeah,
hello, beautiful.
Te amo and all that. You know,
Do you find that people, Latino people react to you differently when they find that you know Spanish?
Not really, because in Latin America they've been around blacks, you know.
Yeah.
You know, mostly.
Well, yeah, it's Cuba, just that here in L.A. it's a lot of Mexican and Central American people who have less experience with black people who speak Spanish. In New York, it's not even a thing. People won't even.
Not a thing.
They won't even raise an eyebrow. Yeah, I mean. But I found that in L.A. I get that a lot. People are surprised.
They're appreciative, honestly. Like, I've been facilitating spaces with majority Spanish speakers in a room, and I had like some translation assistance, but the idea that I could do some of it in Spanish was really like people would, you know, respond like, hey, I'm glad that you appreciated speaking to us in our language as best you could. That really showed us that, you know, you're going to break that barrier there. So it matters.
It matters, and it's good for our brains. That's why I was trying to get us to learn some Swahili, some Spanish. Afrikaans, not so much.
You know, If we can get some sign language in there too, that'll be an easy one. That's a visual one.
Oh Lord, yeah, I should learn that. I just say oh Lord because I don't know that I have skill for that. But yeah, I mean, I love that more and more places you go now, folks are signing.
Yeah.
And making things accessible. Although I guess we've had some problems with some people fake signing.
Hey, no, now here's a real one. I love you. That's an easy one. My mom taught me that when I was young. She's a sign language interpreter. Yes. It's not a gang sign.
Yeah, that's the other
Some
thing
people
in
it might
LA,
be, but you got to be careful. But yeah, shout out to my mom for, teaching me some sign language.
Yeah. Well, it's good to talk with you, Howard.
Howard.
Un placer.
One more thing, please. It's easier for you to learn Spanish than somebody speaking Spanish learn English. And it's people understand that. Like I was in the medical field, and what helped me learn Spanish is Latin. And you got the Latin root word, and you can look at signs around in L.A. You just take off the ending of it. A lot of times you have an English word. I did that with a guy in the laundry man. I said, "Wow, I know that. Yeah, you can do that. Learn the syntax. You'd probably be better off. It's real easy to read."
There it is.
Well, yeah, it's also it's because they're Latin roots of words for the most part, right? So. Yeah, it's a good system. And you're right. It is much easier to learn Spanish than English because English has all these weird spellings and things that are inconsistent.
We all speak it, but it don't make no sense.
But it's intuitive for us because All right, Howard. Thank you for that inspiring Friday Spanish booster.
That's right.
And lesson.
Buen día. Hola, que te buen día.
Que pasa un buen día.
Buenos nachos.
They're listening to KBLA Talk 1580.
Say the quiet part out loud. KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm David Goldberg, a bilingual elementary school teacher and president of the California Teachers Association. As we start a new school year, there's something new happening in California's public schools. They're called community schools, where families, students, educators, and communities are making decisions as one.
As a parent, I feel like we're really valued as partners in the education system.
Community schools are bridging the systems of academics with the community.
The curriculum is designed around the students and their academic needs.
I know community schools are working. We see it in parent involvement. We see it in student academics.
We saw double-digit gains in math, English, and reading scores.
It's a more innovative, holistic approach to educating students.
I really feel like this is the first time that we're really seeing a system change in our school.
It's innovative, fresh, and they're already working.
We invite you to learn more about community schools as we come together to reimagine public education here in California. And that's why CTA brought you this message.
Hi, it's Tavis Smiley. KBLA Talk 1580 is inviting you to join us on Saturday, September 16th, 10 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. for our very first economic empowerment event for the community. This event is free and it's powered by Caltrans. We're doing this in association with Rambo House, and here's Rambo to tell you more.
Contracts. I'm going to say it again for all of us small business owners out there. Contracts. Rambo House, KBLA, Tavis, me. Oh my God, this is going to be massive. I truly thank Caltrans for giving us the opportunity to focus on contracts. Listen, that's what it's all about to be a small business in LA. That's how we hire our own. That's how we expand our community is contracts. KBLA1580.com is for you to have a seat at our contracts-focused event. Contract Ready does it again. We had over 900 last time. So you guys know how exciting this is. And if you just think that you want to get into contracts and you're close to it, bring your friends out for September 16th at the Marriott Hotel. Listen, you know where to register. KBLA1580.com. Come see me. I can't wait to see you. Let's do it, Tavis.
So be sure to go to KBLA1580.com for all the details. We'll see you Saturday, September 16th.
I'm getting vaccinated with Prevnar 20.
So am I, because I'm at risk for pneumococcal pneumonia.
If you're 19 or older with chronic conditions like asthma, diabetes, COPD, or heart disease, or are 65 or older, you are at increased risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about Prevnar 20, pneumococcal 20-valent conjugate vaccine. It can help protect you against pneumococcal pneumonia in just one dose. Even if you've already been vaccinated with other pneumonia vaccines, Prevnar 20 may help provide added protection. Prevnar 20 is approved for adults to help prevent infections from 20 strains of the bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia. Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you've had a severe allergic reaction to the vaccine or its ingredients. Adults with weakened immune systems may have a lower response to the vaccine. Side effects include pain and swelling at the injection site, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138 or visit Prevnar20.com.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we do more than just talk.
You got a big mouth. Hello, Joe, you're up. Welcome.
We're unapologetically progressive, and we don't black down.
And so can't believe I missed that match last night, CoCo Gauff. I like women's tennis. I particularly like black women's tennis.
Me too. Weird.
Yeah, something about that. And CoCo Gauff is, she's a young athlete that's had a lot of pressure on her since she emerged, because she comes from an athletic family, and and she's super talented. The expectations have been really high. Now she's going to the finals.
Yeah, on the biggest stage in the world at the U.S. Open. She's gonna be one of the youngest finalists since the youngest finalist since Serena, and about 20 years ago, over 20 years ago.
Wow.
19 years old. Wow, just amazing.
And she's playing against the world. She's going to be playing against the world number one. So it should be a tough match, but she might be able to do it. This girl, Ariana, I don't know how to say her name. Ariana Sablenka,
I'm
Belarus.
not even going to try. Not after that Spanish segment we did.
Madison Keys, the other black girl in the U.S. Open semifinals, lost in 3 sets.
Yeah, she had it. But you just you got to finish it. You got to finish strong, and she didn't finish strong.
And you know what? I think that those big stages are tricky. You know what I mean? It's like it's easy for us to sit there and go, "Why didn't she get that point?" or "Why didn't she close out the match?" But I think when you're in the biggest stages in the world like that, not only just that there's such white spaces, they're not as wide as they used to be, but because it's just pressure. The U.S. Open.
Yeah, those lights are big. I mean, the lights in here are big, but I could imagine at the U.S. Tennis Center. Good God.
But then there was an almost hour delay of the match.
Craziest thing happened. So there's like a protest that happens in the middle of the match. So when you're watching it, it just looks like, what's going on? Why are they stopping it? This has never happened before. And apparently some climate activists, somebody glued their shoes to the bottom of the stadium. And, there's this whole thing about having to get them taken out, but they didn't want to mess up their feet and, some crazy stuff. So it took about 50 minutes. So in the meantime, Coco's like, I had this girl right where I wanted her.
Yeah.
And now, what's it going to be like? And she had a tough time. It looked like coming back, trying to finish the match, I think. And, considering it went longer than it needed to. And then it affects the other match, too, which goes super late.
Yeah, went till 1 in the morning, which probably hurt Madison Keys. Yep. It's, I understand it. Obviously I'm a protester myself, but can you pick someone else's match? Go over the men's tennis where they're older and more experienced. CoCo Gauff is only 19, but that shows incredible mental toughness to be able to be up like that, 6-4, 1-0, and then be winning, and then someone shuts down your momentum for a whole hour. And you're able to come back and win it.
Yeah, and this was a stage that she first, popped up on people's radar when she had this match against Naomi Osaka. So, for her to kind of now take this next step was huge. And it's just been a month, a huge month for black women athletes. You have Sha'Carri Richardson become the fastest woman in the world. You got Simone Biles that's winning the world championships in gymnastics for the 8th time. It's going well.
Yeah. Black women are killing the game. And I love those comeback stories. But this isn't a comeback story. This is a come up story because she's only 19 and she's got a very bright future ahead of her. I got to find out when that finals match is and see if I can watch it. Because like I said, I love black women's tennis. We said we were going to talk about a thing that we didn't talk about. Let me remember what that was. But I do want to at least mention the Holly Mitchell event that's coming up. You were talking about that off mic.
So Supervisor Holly Mitchell for District 2, which I'm a resident of, and work with a lot of organizations in that district, is going to be hosting a racial justice learning exchange, which is going to be focused on unincorporated South L.A. So if you look at their website, they've had a whole series of these conversations going back for the last year or so, and they're going to continue to have them moving forward. But this is a great opportunity for Angelenos in these districts to get their word out, to come out and speak up on issues that matter to them. And in this particular case, unincorporated L.A. is a huge underserved community. I mean, these are places that are familiar neighborhoods you know of, but they don't have city services to rely on. They don't have a mayor. They don't have council members to go to. They have to rely on county services. And we know that sometimes things don't always go the way you want when you have to deal with large bureaucracies like that. So for them to really hear this voice and want to hear from unincorporated residents, I think is a great opportunity for you to participate.
Yeah, I agree. I know what it was, the strikes. We'll talk about that when we come forward. KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580 is an intervention. When we come forward, includes you. KBLA Talk 1580, turning pain into power. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminding you that we keep us safe. The Center for the Pacific Asian Family was founded to help address domestic violence and sexual assault in the Asian and the Pacific Islander communities. The Center for the Pacific Asian Family's mission is to build healthy and safe communities by addressing the root causes and consequences of family violence and violence against women. They are committed to meeting the specific cultural and language needs of the Asian and Pacific Islander women and their families. CPAF's vision is of an Asian and Pacific Islander community that embraces healthy relationships and works in partnership with other communities to eradicate all forms of violence. To access services, volunteer, or for more info, visit nurturingchange.org. At KBLA Talk 1580, we believe everyone deserves to be safe. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
The possibility of lung cancer can be pretty scary, especially if you're one of approximately 8 million current or former smokers at high risk. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know that now there's a breakthrough low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early, and it only takes 60 seconds. You stop smoking, now start screening. For an easy quiz to see if you're eligible, visit SaveByTheScan.org. It could save your life. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
Hello, I'm Kate Levy. When I was just 10 years old, I lost my father, Joe, in the 9/11 attacks at the World Trade Center. He was a lieutenant in the New York City Fire Department. For 9/11 this year, now a National Day of Service, I'll be doing what my dad loved to do, helping others in need. Please join me by doing your own good deed that day. Visit 911day.org to learn more.
We knew you'd stick around. This is LA's home for progressive talk radio. Welcome back to KBLA Talk 1580.
So, yeah, we're still on strike here in L.A. Writers Guild of America, Screen Actors Guild, of which I am a member. Also, hotel workers. There's, as the mayor was talking about, city services, many city workers that still need their deals. But these strikes don't look like they're going anywhere anytime soon. Warner Brothers announcing, saying that they're going to lose $500 million in profits this year because of the strikes. I wonder what giving us what we're asking for would it cost. Would it cost $500 million? Why would you rather waste money?
Where'd that number come from?
Throw it down. Yeah, right?
I mean, if we're just going to make up numbers about stuff that we could have lost potentially this year, like I lost $500 million too.
Yeah, you don't know. You could have. I mean, I think that's a good point. I also think, there's this pushback because the studios got off to such a bad start with these terrible quotes from, big wealthy executives.
Bob Iger and them, yeah.
Yeah. And so they kind of flared. They actually exacerbated the strike. They made the actors and the writers angry. And that's not what you want to do. So now I think they're trying to show consequences. Warner Brothers also says they're suspending their deals with their show creators, people like Mindy Kaling, and those are more on the J.J. Abrams. Those are more on the rich side, right?
Right, but because of their role as executive producers and showrunners, they bear the brunt of all these costs. So they still are paying folks out of their pocket potentially now, or furloughing them, right? So that's going to have an impact. Whereas people thought, well, I'm safe because I'm working with JJ over here. It's like, well, I don't know if JJ's going to be paying out this month.
That's interesting. They certainly could afford to. I mean, those big Hollywood players, and we'll see what happens.
Well, they wanted October to be like, a target end date for things. So the idea that we're in this September push right now, and they're trying to paint the picture of how bad things are going to be, maybe that's to kind of encourage this, hey, let's get this resolved by October so that folks aren't trying to scramble at the end of the year trying to put projects together, because if you don't get it done by October, now you're going into the holiday season, and how's that going to work?
Yeah, well, we're talking next year for sure.
Yeah.
Pretty much a lot of these projects are saying if we don't get a deal by October, they're going to be pushed to 2024. And I also think this is the studios, like you said, trying to scare people a little bit, trying to get more sympathy. Oh, we're so broke, we have to suspend the guy behind Ted Lasso, Bill Lawrence. That's how much that $500 million that we allegedly were going to make is going to hurt us.
Yeah, no, I mean, like I said, that's speculative money. That's to me that's a scare tactic to make it seem like, we're not this big bad corporate monster that's just eating all these profits. Like, no, when you guys don't work, it affects us. And we're like, well, yeah, everybody knew that going into it. So what did you prove by saying this?
Well, the other thing is they're talking about suspensions. They're not canceling those contracts. Mm-hmm. It's called suspend and extend.
Then they get sued, right?
Well, no.
No, because in the producer's case, they can cut these contracts whenever they want, actually.
Yeah, depending on what their contract says. But they're doing suspend and extend, meaning they're pausing their payments, but they're extending the term of the contract, so it's really
so you're still in
taking a hiatus from getting paid.
Oh, yeah, good old TV term, hiatus.
Yeah, suspend and extend.
Well.
Yeah, I think that according to the New York Times, that means that the producers expect this to go possibly into 2024.
Yeah, no, I think that's the way that it's got to be. You got to see this as not getting resolved soon. And, there's a lot of support that, folks thought wasn't going to be there for the writers, that people were going to fold, specifically on the actor side and the production side. But no, their support is strong.
Well, Rob Battles, thank you so much for sitting in on the mic this morning. It's always a pleasure talking with my fellow community organizer, Rob Battles. News, traffic, and sports, then call me, 800-920-1580, KBLA, Talk 1580.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
Good morning, I'm Mike Moore. Here's the latest from the Black Information Network. A month after a fast wildfire destroyed the historic town of Lahaina on the Hawaiian island of Maui, nearly 400 people are still missing. Teams of rescuers, cadaver dogs, and anthropologists trained to detect fragments of human remains have searched nearly all of Lahaina. A man is seriously hurt after a shooting at FedEx Forum in Memphis, Tennessee. This happened during a concert headlined by African-American rapper Lil Baby Last. News.com.
Come to Dodger Stadium on September 19th when the boys in blue take on the Tigers for Dia de los Dodgers, presented by